Hello, everyone. Welcome to my 135th live stream. Today is Wednesday, May 18th. My name is Brian Akeem, and we are going to be talking about Walking Dead's Walking Dead Reboot series. Let me see if I can just fix this picture, though. It looks a little bit funny, I guess that works. All right, let's see if we can fix that. Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me. I wonder if it says I'm streaming. Yeah, so I really enjoyed Walker Dead's Reboot series. Um, I have a few, you know, constructive criticisms here and there, but other than that, I really do enjoy it. I like how it's not as messy as season 3 is or was in a lot of areas, so there is that. And here he is right now. Hey, Walker Dead, Phoenix. Hey, man. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so so if you guys have any questions, just ask me in the chat about me, to me or to Walker Dead about his reboot series. If you guys are currently watching it, I know that Epic watched it. I know that Josh also watches it, the other Josh, and maybe a few other people. But yeah, so yeah, so so Walker Dead. So about your reboot series, um, I one thing I do like about it, and I don't know if you heard me just now, but I said it doesn't feel as messy as season 3, from the main show. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying season 3 was a bad season. I just think it was a messy season. Like, there was a lot of good moments, but there was a whole lot of um, problems. Like it's certain things that just kind of felt like they kind of came out of nowhere. I like how you did some comic book moments here and there, and I like how the prisoners mattered in this version. And I'll be honest, like I really like what you did with Avesta in the first half, like that episode where from Andrea's prey episode, like you really made that a much better episode in my opinion, because yeah, because yeah, you know what I mean? Because to me, like, I never liked that Andrea episode in the second half of season 3 because, like, well, you can't kill off Andrea and you can't kill the governor. Like, so what's the point of an episode where they're trying to kill each other, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah, and thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And while I was writing that episode, Pray, I'm like, okay, if this is gonna be I'm like, okay, if this is gonna be a dark episode, if this is an episode that's gonna push into season 3B, what can I do? I was asking myself this question while writing it. I'm like, okay, what can I do to make this episode good? What can I do to make this episode intrigue the audience that are Walking Dead fans of both the show and the comic? Like, what can I do to make this episode good? And what came to mind was Avesta and her brother. So I delved into that story a little bit more, and as time went on, that's what ended up being in the final episode, the final cut.
yeah, I mean, geez, like, the fact that she, I mean, has like I don't really think The Walking Dead has ever done something like that before. I mean, Lizzie did kill Mika in a way, but that's because she kind of did it because she was crazy. But having Avesta be the one to kill Johnny, her own brother, like that was like really dark, and but she did it in a very realistic way of like no, she didn't do it because she's crazy, or even he's not even really crazy. It's just that they're literally on opposite sides right now, and literally he's trying to make her do something she doesn't want to do, and it's like he's kind of forcing her in this position, like he's forcing her to do this because he can stop chasing
Yeah,
her, he can always stop, um but and if he really wanted her to come back, he would like lower his gun and be like, listen, okay, I'm not gonna chase you down, I'm not gonna threaten you. I'm not doing any of that. I just want to talk, whatever. But he didn't really do that. He was very threatening, so it makes sense why Vesta took the action she did to protect herself because you know as well as I do, even in my story, even if it's family, if you are in an abusive relationship, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you're family anymore. It's survival, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree, and yeah, I totally agree that that's something that that really does, you know, like it makes you wonder in a way. And yeah, I'm like sure, even if Avesta didn't really theoretically kill her own brother, in a way, she was still the cause of his death. However, you can understand the why. You can understand why towards you know toward, like you know after the whole thing. I, I, you her brother was in cahoots with the governor. Her brother was not going to stop, and therefore she, in my opinion, she did what she had to do.
Yeah, exactly, man. I totally agree. And I like how you took certain things where, um, like okay, like I mean, even though she hasn't been used a lot, I do like how you involved Lily in this version because this was something that I mean, can you imagine how? I mean, this is tricky because Lori was already dead, but I always think about like, man, can you imagine if they introduced? Can you imagine if the show introduced Lily back in season 3? Like, instead of Haley, you know, that Andrew was talking to on the wall, can you imagine if that
Yeah,
girl was Lily? You know, like Andrew's just talking to her, they're killing zombies, and then she's just like, wait, I never got your name. And she's just like, Lily. And then comic book fans would just be like, oh my god, would have been like, oh my gosh, like Lily, as in the woman who kills Lori and Judith in the comics. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that would have been kind of cool. Obviously, the way the show did it, Lori died before the Woodbury stuff, but I still think that would have been kind of cool. Like, um, because I think back to it, and even the show, like, even when I think of the show Lily, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not impressed with show Lily. Um, but so I like how you were like, no, no, she's here in Woodbury, and you know, she's gonna be a character, you know, that fits. You know, the same thing with um, all the other characters. You know, you had Sasha in there too, which was interesting, and even Rowan. You know, I like how you're adding in a lot more female characters in Woodbury, because oh my goodness, yeah, because in the show, let's be honest, in the show, Woodbury felt like this. Um, all guy group. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
kind of like it's like, hey man, where are some cool female characters like in this place? No, there's not any. So
yeah. Like what the heck? Yeah, like what was up with that? Like that's something I didn't understand with season three of the show. I'm like, okay, there's the governor, you have Merle, you have all these other characters, and that's fine. I see what they're doing here. However, there's not enough characters. I said that in my mind once. I'm like, okay, you have Martinez, you have Merle, you have Roran for a short amount of time. I'm like, sure. I'm like, okay, you have those characters in the show. However, there's not enough characters in the show. There wasn't enough people at Woodbury, and that was one of my biggest concerns with season three of the show. I'm like, okay, you have the governor, you have some characters here that are comic and show related. However, it's not enough.
yeah, it felt like we definitely could have used like a few awesome female characters, you know, in Woodbury, and there kind of wasn't really any to go by. Um, you know what I mean. So yeah, I think it's cool that you're doing this. I do think, I mean, you know how I feel like just a fair criticism is just I do think there's like a lot of characters, and obviously it's hard to give everyone screen time. Like you know what I mean? Like you have the comic characters, show characters, reboot characters, and and when David died, I'm like, and when David died in episode 9, I was kind of glad because I'm like, well, I didn't really know his character that much, and there was just so many characters already. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
um, yeah. So one thing I'll say is that your version of season 3 has a lot more characters, which I am glad of. It's just I still think it's just like if we could just like lose a couple more like here and there, but like other than that, like I think you're doing great. You know, it's just
yeah.
yeah, like I said, just a lot of characters. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's just hard to keep track of everyone on Woodbury
Yeah,
and Rick's group because I'm like, man, there's so many more. It's like three times more than the show did.
yeah,
Um, all right. Okay. So I guess I can give you some questions. Still waiting for the chat. I'm not really seeing. We've been going for 10 minutes. Yeah. Let me see if I can think of something. Let me see if I can think of something in the chat. Um, let's see. We got that. Yeah, you were doing that. Yeah, I think I mentioned it before, but I'm kind of glad you redid that episode from months ago.
yeah,
Um, which is good. Because I'm glad. Also, you gave Andrea her comic scar, I believe, which
yeah,
that's also good because um because like it's weird. Like the show gave it to Rosita, I guess, but like back in season 7. Um, yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I always wondered why they didn't really do that with. I mean, obviously with Show Andrea, they completely changed her character, but it's like, yeah, I noticed that. Like Andrea's scar is like they literally wait until season 7 to give that to Rosita. Like that's interesting. Like, um, you know what I'm saying? Like Andrea's scar from Thomas Richards. Um,
yeah.
so yeah. What else?
Like, what did you think of the whole first half in general? Like, through episode from season 3, episodes 1 through 8. What did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think you did the prisoners a lot better in this version. I definitely enjoyed the prisoners more. Um, and I like how sorry, hold on, I'm just trying to remember. Because oh wow, yeah, like it's actually been a year since your season 3 premiere, actually. So I'm trying to remember how it went. But I do like how you've involved certain characters, like Tara and John. Um, in the first half, I mean, obviously, like I said, I think you did Lori's death really well. Because I did not expect, because I was always wondering, I'm like, okay, are you gonna keep Lori alive, past what the show did, like in the comic, or are you gonna do something else where it's like, oh no, you're gonna kill her off the same way, but you kill her off in a different way. I like that. I also did like that. Now I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you took out the whole Rick versus Lori thing that season 3 did in the first couple episodes. I believe you took that out. I
I
could be
did.
wrong. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you did that because, like, to me, that's just unnecessary drama. Because like Lori's gonna die in like 4 episodes, so it's like why even give the drama? And like I said, to me that never made any sense in season 2 because you can visually see that Lori's upset with Rick because Carl killed Shane. But they said behind the scenes that it was because he killed Shane. But it's like one, he did that in self defense, and two, Lori, you literally told Rick in the second half of season 2 Shane was dangerous and he won't stop. You literally whispered in his ear to kill Shane. You literally did that. So I don't understand what was going on there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that whole thing just made no sense. But I'm glad you didn't continue it. And hi, Josh. Josh Diodont Dionet is here. He says hi. Sorry, I'm late. No worries, Joshua. You can come anytime. If you have any questions about Walker Dead's reboot series, just ask me or him. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, we're just talking about his season 3 reboot. It's we're gonna go for at least an hour today. Um, trying to talk at least about his reboot for the most part and what we would like to see in the future, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. So Tyrese's arm. Why did you get rid of Tyrese's arm? I'm curious on that. You did like this. Yeah,
Um,
you gave that.
Not
You,
gone.
well, I was just gonna say like that happened in the show, but that happens way later, and it was because he was bit. But in the show, he just gets that from Rick because like Tyrese knows his sister's here, and now he just loses his arm. So like I'm curious what you're doing with Tyrese's character.
So to answer the double question, so I had that Easter egg in season 3, episode 8, because I'm like, okay, since the show never did this, I'm like, okay, the show never did this sort of moment. Why not do it with another character that pushed the other character forward? And I'm like, okay, if it's not, I'm like, okay, it can't be Rick. It can't be Rick. It can't be John. It can't be Daryl. The only character I had in mind um, was Tyrese. Tyrese was the only suitable option to get that comic moment. And in my opinion, it was the only way to push his character forward going into season 3B. Because if I didn't do that moment, then how can I have pushed that character forward?
Yeah, that's true. It's just having a character lose a limb is definitely something that uh the thing is that I don't understand why The Walking Dead kind of does this a lot, where the character loses a limb or something and it's like it's barely an inconvenience, uh which is not how losing a limb works, you know what I mean? Like, it's not one of those things
Yeah,
where it's like, oh, it's barely an inconvenience. Like, no, dude, like Herschel he had to stay in the prison like the entire time because he lost one of his legs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, from season 3 to 4, Herschel has pretty much stayed 100% um, on the grounds of the prison because it's just not gonna work. For him to go out there. It's just one of those things. I remember his not bottle episode, but remember his solo episode in the
yeah,
quarantine. Like, him not having a leg, it seriously causes problems. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, when a character loses a limb, it continues on for seasons and seasons and seasons. Where it's like, okay, Lydia loses her arm, and then it's just like, oh no, she can still do things. She can still walk around and carry the stupid staff and do whatever. It's like, listen,
yeah.
why do you have a character lose a limb if it's not gonna matter?
I know, right? I will admit this. At least with me, when I do it in my show, at least with me, I have it matter. I don't do it again. I don't have a character lose a limb for no reason. Like, for example, with Alan during season 3A, when he lost his leg, I didn't do it out of nowhere. I did it because I needed to push that character forward. I didn't do it for no reason. I did it to push the character forward.
Yeah, and I like how you did Alan because that was a cool twist. Because like in because it's funny because that's the same as the comic, but Alan dies from it in the comic. But then in the show they had Herschel live, and it's like, oh no, so you did a combination of both where it's like Alan gets bit but lives just like Herschel did, but obviously he's the character. You know what I mean? Like, so you kind of just switched what happened. So what happened? So in the comics they switched. They gave that to Herschel but had him live. But in yours, you like I said, you kind of combined them where you gave that to Alan, just like Kirkman did, except you didn't kill him off. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely curious to see. Yeah, Alan has lost a lot. Has he done anything lately as a character? I'm trying to remember. Um,
Besides helping out the group and helping out Rick with the prison stuff, um, not yet. I mean, don't worry, his character is not forgotten, and who knows? Maybe in season 3B, I could probably have some more story from him.
okay. Um, yeah, because like it's not like it's like, I mean, what kind of show would this be if like, hey, I just completely forgot about this character that is part of the group? It's like, oh yeah, like a lot of shows do that. you know.
Yeah. At
Um,
least with me, I don't forget about my characters.
yeah, I
At
mean,
least for me, I
yeah,
don't do it.
yeah. It's like because seriously, how can you forget about your characters? It's like you guys are paid to remember them. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, seriously, like it's not that hard. To remember your characters, and that you do. Um,
Yeah.
let's see what else. I'm trying to think if there's Any
Oh
villain.
yeah. In terms of David's death in season 3, episode 9, like, did you like? I know you said you were okay with it, but do you agree that his story was told? Do you agree that his story was over?
Yeah, I just don't really see what you could have done with his character like further. Um, and he was never one of the more standouts. From He was never really one of the standouts from Tyrese's group. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have like a big presence. So him just like getting killed, it makes a lot of sense because like that's kind of how it was. Like it's like random. Like the governor when he shot, it was like when he killed someone, it was like complete random. Um, so I think it being a random character makes sense too, because it's just like one of those things like if the villain is going to kill someone at random, it's like okay, it has to be a random character. It doesn't always have to be a minor character, but it has to be random because it's like if the villain says he's going to pick random, but it's like oh he chose a character that just so happened to have a huge connection with the protagonist, it's like okay that's not random then. It doesn't feel random. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. One second, man. Be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mom? Mom? Hey, I'm back. Um, so, yeah, I kind of hope Carl gets more scenes in the second half. Um, and, yeah, also, I, yeah, also, because obviously it's the second half, I do like how you already introduced Alan and his family sooner. So that was also one change I noticed with the second half. How much did I miss? Probably nothing, Joshua. Probably nothing. Yeah, man. If you
Yeah,
have any
with
questions,
Alan's family. Speaking of that, I did introduce Alan's family back in season 1, so that's a cool little nod to the comic.
yeah, because like when the show did it around, I mean, it did it in the mid-season finale, but they got more expanded on episode 9. I just feel like they did it at last minute. Don't get me wrong, I did like certain scenes where it was like I did like that scene where Sasha was talking to Beth, and Beth's like, "Oh, she's not mine," and she's like, "Where's the mother?" And then there's that silence, and they know it's like, "Oh, the mother didn't make it." So I did like that scene. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I did like that scene. It's just I do think Tyrese and them were introduced so late, and man, dude, did his group not matter in the show? I mean, minus Sasha. I think Sasha, him obviously mattered, but Tyrese, looking back on it, he barely had an impact in the story, and Sasha had an impact, but she could have done a lot. They could have done a lot better with her character.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: like, do you agree in some extent? Like, do you agree in some extent that Tyrese's group in my version so far is being done good? I'm like, sure, with Chris and David, they did die in season 3, and yeah, they were part of Tyrese's group in my version. But do you agree that they're being more like, do you agree that they're more recognizable in my version than they were in the show?
Well, Chris and Dave, I don't think they were in the show, but you're talking about Tyrese's group. Um,
Yeah, Tyrese. Yeah, I'm talking about Tyrese's group in my version. Like, do you agree that Tyrese's group in my version are better than Tyrese's group in the show?
um, well, I think there's pros and cons to both versions. So, like Tyrese's group in the show was not too big, you know what I mean? And but like
Mm,
um but I think like your version had like 6 or 7 characters and it was just you know what I'm saying? Like it was just harder to kind of because there were more, they didn't really do much. But I will say that I definitely think I definitely think they stand out as far as like names where it's like, oh wow, like these are brand new characters. It's not like because like in the show it's like, oh, let's introduce Alan, Donna, and Ben, and then Tyrese, and then Sasha. It's like, wait a minute, this is literally just Tyrese's family and Alan's family combined into one. Like, you know what I mean? I will say it does. It definitely is not as last minute, and I do think their deaths made a lot of sense in terms of how certain ones were done. Like, so like Donna's death. For first off, Donna's death was straight trash. Like in the show, like she hurt her leg and they're carrying her this and that, and it's just like boom, teleporting zombie bites her in the arm, and then they go into prison, and then she's already dead. It's like what? Like you guys literally, she got bit outside and literally went in the hallway. Carl found them, and then Donna's already dead. Like, what? So having Chris be one of the victims was always something I thought of if I ever did a Walking Dead reboot, and I think it was cool that you did that because this was something even in the comic. I kind of wished Kurtman did. You know what I mean? Because you know how I feel about the comic with that whole. Remember that whole Julia and Chris thing from the comic? Um, or Julie, Tyrese's daughter. I never liked
Yeah,
that in the comic. It was so stupid, because it's like I said, it's like, whoa, 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 what the heck is this? Like Chris and his girlfriend, Tyrese's daughter, they wanted to date, they wanted to live, they like Tyrese like is her father, and what? She's just okay with dying? Like what? Like this makes no sense. It came out of nowhere, in my opinion. That Chris and Julie were like, hey, listen, forget my father, let's just end it. Like, what? Like this came out of nowhere. Like, and then and then Chris shot her in the chest. Like, what? He doesn't know how to aim for the head. Like, I don't know, just the whole thing made no sense. Um,
yeah,
so having Chris be one of the victims from Thomas, that was definitely better writing than even Kurtman, in my opinion. With the whole how Chris died, and I definitely think that now that David has died, so I think that's two members of Tyrese's group. I definitely think you're kind of sprinkling it a bit better because, because yeah, it doesn't make sense to be like, oh yeah, like this character from Tyrese's group dies, and then 2 episodes later, another member, and then 1 episode later, the last member. It's like, so I definitely think you're spacing it out a bit better than the show did.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, at least with me, I was able to plan it out and think it. I mean, I don't know, something about how I did those two depths of Tyrese Cooper. My version, I don't know. I don't want to say it feels iconic. I do agree that it feels unique, and here's why. Yeah, you're right. Kerman never had a member of Tyrese's group from the comic die by one of the prisoners. Kerman never did that in the comic. So for me to do it, that was, in my opinion, unique in its own way. Just like having a member of Tyrese's group die from the governor. That's something Kermit never did either. So in a way, in a weird way, I did it somewhat better.
Yeah. Cause yeah, like don't get me wrong, I usually like love the comic. Um, but there's some things I even mentioned in the comic, the Walking Dead comics. There are some mistakes that the comic has. For one thing, the Chris and Julie thing, that was no, that was stupid, bad writing. That made no sense. Billy's death and when the prison fell, I also thought that was bad writing. It made no sense. It's like literally he's people liked him even more than Maggie as a character, and I'm just like, listen, Kirkman, I think you should keep him around a little bit longer because, you've been killing off member people from Maggie's family like flies. It's like I think you should keep him around, but he didn't do that. And then I think maybe with the ending, with the whole Commonwealth thing, yeah, well, yeah, you know what I mean. Like Kirkman did not really flesh out the kingdom and other communities after the Whisper War, and then it's just like then the Commonwealth, and boom, it's over. It's like yeah, Kirkman kind of messed up there, in my opinion. Like the comic is really good, but it's not perfect. I will admit, Kirkman's the Walking Dead comics is not perfect. There are some mistakes in there, even with Kirkman's writing, in my opinion.
Yeah. I totally agree. Oh, and speaking of which, what did you think of season 3, episode 9?
I was um wait, what does that even mean? One second. Let me just what does that mean? Yeah, sorry. Can you ask that again?
Yeah, what I was asking before was, what did you think of season 3, episode 9?
Oh,
What
okay.
did you think of the whole episode?
Um, yeah, very interesting. I'm surprised we didn't get a character death in the beginning. Um, like while the characters were kind of shooting at each other. Um, but I thought it was fast paced. I'm like, wow, you kind of did the thing fast. Because I did not expect. Um, I did not see the twist coming of where Rick and his group go right back. Because like in the show, because like I don't know. Okay, let me explain. So like literally, um, well, first off, I just want to say you used Rowan really well because like I said, not using that character again after one episode, that's just trash. Like seriously, it's like what the heck, AMC? You literally have a cool idea with this Rowan character. It's like, hey, she's the governor's girlfriend, but because that's something that wasn't in the comic. It's like, oh wow, so the governor has a love interest, but she's not that love interest where um she's psychotic like him, but she's also not that love interest where it's like, she's delusional either. And no, it's like she's that love interest that kind of sees that, oh my goodness, like he's hiding things and he's changing and he's not the man I thought he was. And you know what I'm saying? That works a lot better than having Andrea be a character who literally meets the governor, spends time with him for a few weeks, and then it's just like, no, I know the governor. He's a good man. It's like, Andrea, you literally just met him a few weeks ago. Like, yeah, I don't know. Just so I will say that is another thing you doing better than AMC. Having a character who knew the governor for a lot longer works out a lot better than having Andrea be the one to defend the governor. And having immediately after the governor attacked the prison, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this is better writing than what AMC did because seriously, I don't understand why the show decided, hey, let's do episode 9 and then let's do episode 10 and then the end of episode 10 is going to be the fight at the prison. It's like Rick and them know the governor and them are coming. They know where they are. So it happening in episode 9, in my opinion, this makes a lot more sense than skipping a whole episode, giving filler, and just being like, hey, the governor's going to come, and then boom, in episode 10 it happens. Now, don't get me wrong, it was still surprising, but it was just weird to me how in episode 9, Rick and them make it back to the prison, and then just do nothing in the whole episode. And then episode 10, they do nothing the whole episode until they get attacked. It's like, what? So having it be where they come back from the prison, when they come back to the prison from Woodbury and then they're attacked, it's like, oh wow, yeah, I didn't expect that. And this also really makes sense as to why the governor does not have his whole army with him because in the show he had like a whole day to prepare, and it's like it was just the governor and Martinez and some random guy with the truck. Like that's it. It's like, well, wait a minute, the governor has more men than that. Like even in short notice. So you doing
Yeah.
it to where like, hey, no, this is just hours after. It's like, oh yeah, okay, see, that makes a lot more sense. So I like that you kind of rushed it. Even though it was kind of rushed, I like you did that because it makes a lot of sense for it to be rushed in this situation. I kind of feel like it explains a plot hole of, hey, why did the governor only attack with a few guys in episode 10? And as opposed to like you have it in episode 9. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm like sure to be fair, the goal wasn't for it to be rushed at all. I'm like okay. If I'm gonna have everything, like the whole, the gunfight, the character death, or the tension between Merle and Daryl, I'm like okay. If I'm gonna have those things within the episode, I would rather. This is what I said in my mind. I would rather have it just in season 3, episode 9, rather than to have it pushed forward into season 3, episode 10, because that makes no sense in my opinion. It doesn't make sense story wise.
Yeah, I agree. looking back on it, it does make the show look kind of weird. That it's like, hey, let's have the characters come. This episode, the characters come back from Woodbury, and then they do nothing the whole episode after that, and then the whole episode 10, they're pretty much doing nothing. I mean, Rick was literally in a field by himself doing nothing. Michonne was by a bus. I don't know. That whole thing made no sense. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things in the prison were kind of confusing. Like, I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm just saying that, like, I don't understand how they have a prison and they never really use it properly in the show. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things that I never got in the show. Like, why did they not use the prison correctly? Like, Rick and Michonne were in an open field. Like, I don't understand why the show did that. I get that he was hallucinating Lori, but to me, it just, I don't know, it still does not really work. Like, I never liked the whole Lori hallucinating thing. And you also took that out. You took that out from episode 9. And don't get me wrong, was it creepy when the show did it? Sure, yeah. Did I like it? No, I really did not like the Lori hallucination in episode 9, because I just feel like, well, first off, it just kind of comes out of well, I mean, okay, yeah, it's supposed to come out of nowhere, but the fact that it's the reason why Tyrese and them leave, that's just poor writing in my opinion. But also, it's been days since Lori has been dead, I assume, or like almost a week, because like the whole timeline's confusing, because I remember they asked Herschel how old Judith was, and Herschel said like a week. So, like, I don't know. It's just weird to me that Rick comes back and everyone's just like, hey, Rick, they seem like good people and this and that. And then Rick just hallucinates Lori. And then it's just like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's still just so weird that they did that.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know why they did that in the show. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do a time skip if you're gonna do a time skip from day, if you're gonna do like a few day time skip, have it make sense for the story so that people don't get confused. But they didn't even do that.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a time skip. I just feel like it's a continuity issue. Because, like I said, the show visually made it look like Lori died like a day ago or something like that, like the previous day or two. But but Herschel Lilly says Judith's a week old. So it's like, okay, how? I don't know. That part's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
It's just part of the reason why I think season 3 was kind of so messy. And yeah, and then yeah, exactly. So like when the characters, yeah. So with the whole Rick thing, shouting and all that stuff, to me, it's just like, I don't know, because it's weird to do that literally when you're in the second half, like, of the season, mind you. Like, this is the War with Woodbury season, and you're showing Rick going crazy, hallucinating Lori, who died like 5 episodes ago. Think about that. Lori died 5 episodes ago, and Rick is hallucinating her. Like I don't know. To me, that's just, like I said, it just seems like it comes out of nowhere, because like we just got the phone thing. Remember that? Rick literally got closure with Lori through the phone, and then all of a sudden he's hallucinating her. It's like, what? I don't know. Like,
that makes
no sense.
Not to be walking. Yeah, that makes no sense for the story. Again, like I mentioned before, if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. But even with Glenn Mazzara, I'm like, bro, why are you gonna do it if it makes no sense? I'm like, okay, you're a showrunner, but even you have to admit this doesn't make sense here.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why I didn't do it in my version.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as bad as Gimple was in season 7 and 8, or Ian and Andy. But yeah, Glenn Mazzara was messy as a showrunner, because it's just like, yeah, like I said, the season was just messy. Good in a lot of areas, but then it's just like, man, what were they doing in this scene? You know.
Yeah. Oh, and my apologies for the background noise. I don't know, these people by my place. I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, my apologies for the background music.
You're good, man.
Sorry, not music.
I barely heard anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't really have anything in the chat. I think you said that yeah, I mentioned it. I like how you use Rowan. I like you had a scene with Milton where he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that she broke up with you," and the governor's just like, "Yeah, I don't care." For the most part, it's just like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, obviously the governor would not really care too much, but I do like how you had Rowan kind of have this spine with her. You took out
Yeah.
you took out the Mexican family that was on the bridge, which I do like. I will admit, I do like. It's not the bunny thing. Here's the thing, though. I'm mixed with this because Daryl snapping at Merle, it worked. I think it's more realistic the way the show did it versus a baby bunny, but I'm glad it happened sooner, and I'm glad that you didn't do the Mexican family because to me, I'm just like I don't know. I just didn't like that whole thing where it was like why bring them in? Why introduce this random family out of nowhere just for Daryl to snap at Merle and then we never see them again or whatever? I don't know. Like, so you know what I'm saying? There's pros and cons to both. I feel like a family and the baby being there is more realistic to why Daryl would snap at Merle um, than what you did. But I think that you doing it, but you having Daryl sorry, not snap at Merle in this episode make more sense. Um, you know, in my opinion. And at least he didn't introduce that family and then did nothing with them. So you know what I mean? That's a pro to it
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, like I said, I'm kind of mixed with it. Because like I said, I'm not just saying that oh you did everything better than the show, and I'm not saying oh the show did everything better than you. Of course not. I'm just saying that like you definitely had a lot of moments that were better, and then certain moments I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe I kind of prefer the show a little bit more in this area. But and then sometimes I'm like, it's 50-50. You know what I mean? Like I like the show version and your version just the same in certain scenes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
let's see what else. Oh yeah, who's the
Oh,
other? Oh,
speaking of
go ahead.
which, did you like how I did Carol's death?
Right. Carol's death. Brutal death. You know, at the hands of Dexter. I was surprised. To me, I'm just thinking like, oh wow, like because the show literally said like, hey, we were gonna kill off Melissa McBride, Carol here. Don't get me wrong, I think it would have been cool to see more Carol, but I do like how this is your reboot series. You're not copying off the show. It's like you're doing your own thing, and yeah, now you don't have Carol anymore in your version, but it's like, but you're not trying to make the Walking Dead reboot series exactly like exactly like the main show. You know what I
The
mean?
show.
Where Carol is a Terminator super soldier. In your opinion, you're just not doing that in your version. You're gonna do something else, and it's like that's understandable, you know, because that's
Yeah.
what the show did. That's what the show did from the comic. They're like, listen, I don't want to make the same version. I want to make something else. So if the show can stray from the comics, then you could stray away from the show when you're doing a rewrite. But I definitely like that you had Dexter in your version. To me, that was just such a missed opportunity in the show, not having Dexter. Because I feel like you really could have gotten a great actor. I feel like the show could have gotten an amazing actor and made a terrifying prison villain character. You know what I mean? I feel like Dexter, I don't know, it's just, his name's Dexter, you know, like the show character, you know? It's like, come on, how can you not, like, take advantage of that?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just,
Yeah, I like how I did it too. Where he, I like how I like. This is what I like about reboot series Dexter. You could sure he's a comic book character. Dexter, Prisoner Dexter, sure he's a comic book character from the comic, and we're seeing his reboot series counterpart. Sure, we are seeing that. But this is what I like about reboot series Dexter. He was a villain. He killed Carol. He got Guillermo, Otis, and Andrew killed. He got Lori killed, and that's what added him to that's what added him being the villain. Same with Thomas L. Richards. That's what added him to be the villain because you look at both of those prisoners and you're like, damn, they killed like they got people killed, they killed people, and it's like, whoa, because that's realistic. That's The Walking Dead.
yeah, I definitely think that in your version, it's like, you definitely had the prisoners matter more in your version because literally, like, um, Oh yeah, because like literally in the show, the prisoners did not matter in the slightest, and like we just lost Oscar, and it's like, oh boom, we immediately lose Axel, the last prisoner, and it's like, yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say like literally, we just lost Oscar, that pissed us off. Now you kill off Axel, like what? Um, so yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the prisoners matter in this version where it's like, oh no, they killed off, um, they killed Chris. They killed I think Carol. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like yeah, you actually had a matter. Whereas in
And
the
plus,
show,
Thomas Richards did kill Rachel Green. So
oh right,
yeah, Thomas Richards killed a member of the Green family. So that's crazy.
yeah.
So yeah,
By the way, I'm still waiting on. I'm still curious to see what you're gonna do with Susie. You know, because like last time we saw her was back in season 2. So,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Definitely
Don't
curious.
worry. Yeah, don't worry. I got plans for Susie. She's not forgotten either. Um, I can't say what I'm going to do with that character at the moment because that's going into spoiler territory. But I will say, don't worry. I have not forgotten about that character. Sure, that character is still unknown, but that character's not forgotten. I still got plans.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool. Ooh, we have about 14 minutes left. At least 14 minutes, just so you know.
Yeah.
Before I have
So,
to.
what are your predictions for season 9, episode 10?
Um. Wow. Yeah. Great question, man. Let me just. What did the show? I feel like this is gonna be a. I feel like episode 10 is gonna be a calmer episode, slightly calmer, where you're gonna have you're gonna have like well, obviously Andrea is not gonna have the whole thing. I think we could focus a lot on Woodbury, where it's gonna be like, um, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sasha is still with. I'm sorry, I forgot this, but Sasha's still with the governor, right?
No, Sasha is
Still
currently
with
a
Winifred.
prisoner at Rick's group.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Now no one can kind of do the Andrea thing. Um. Hmm. Yeah. This is tricky because Uh, let me just think about this for a second. So now you did the Suicide King and Home all in one episode. You combined 2 episodes into one. So I think that you could very much have a more calmer episode where it's like, okay, the characters are gonna bury David and Rick and Glenn and John and Daryl, everyone, Merle even, they're gonna talk about, okay, we have to figure out what we're gonna do with Merle. We have to make sure we don't get attacked again like we were before. You know what I mean? Like literally the governor caught us off. Like he came faster than we expected. But there's not going to be a character that gets that scene. Um, there's not going to be a character that gets the scene with from Andrea in the show. Like we're not going to see. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole. You know, Andrea goes to the prison to talk to them. Then she comes back, and it's like, oh, okay, nothing happened. And not to mention, she has the chance to kill the governor, and it's just like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. It's like, ugh, Andrea, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, like this episode, I ain't a Judas. Like seriously, like what? It's just, it's not a good episode. Looking back on it, because it's like, I get it. You need a calm episode after the attack, but to me, it's still just like the characters talk. They brief Andrea about, hey, what happened when she was with them, and this and that. And to me, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like there's more you could have done with that whole thing. I feel like there's still more you could have done with this episode. You know, it's just characters were just talking and this and that. And I'm not saying that, oh, you need to have action, you need to have zombies and this and that. I don't know. To me, I Am Judas is still just a weird episode because it's just um I don't know. It's just it's really boring, obviously. But I get it. You need character moments. But then you had Beth seeing you at the end. And people are like, oh gosh, Beth seeing you at the end. But then also, I really don't. I hate how Andrea does the Walker trick, where she just chops his arms off, and then it's just like she puts it on a pole, and then it's just like, oh, she's camouflage. I mean, I get that Michonne did that with her pets, but one of the big problems. Well, here's the thing though. One of the reasons how that worked for Michonne, you know what I'm saying. One of the reasons that works for her is because she doesn't smell good already. You know, like you know what I mean. The whole making us going behind a zombie and walk with them. But the way Andrea's doing it is so bad. It's just like no, it cannot work in the slightest. You know. And the whole Tyrese's group and the whole Tyrese's group going to Woodbury. It's like, oh come on, like it just no, like it's just bad. It's bad. Like I don't like it. I don't like any of this. Like I don't know. Yeah, this episode could have been a lot better. So I think you're gonna do something similar to this episode, except it's gonna involve other characters. You know, I could see Milton and Rowan talking to the governor about, you know, hey, what's our next plan, this and that, and I could see the ending being like Rick's just like thinking about Morgan, and he's like, listen, you know, there's somebody I need to check on or something like that, and you know, I need to check on a friend, but also I know where maybe we can get some guns or this and that, because like I don't know, it's just like basically both sides. I could see this episode being both sides are going to get ready for the war, but I just think it should be done a lot better because Rick and them are just walking around the prison talking. Like we don't have a scene where I never understood why we never got a scene from the where we see like Glenn and Rick and Daryl in riot armor and like they're checking all the guns and like Glenn's just like Rick, we don't have enough ammo. They didn't leave us a lot of ammo from the prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like I wish the show could have really fleshed out like, hey, what is our situation with the war and ammo and stuff? Like, I don't know, that whole thing was weird. Sorry for oversleeping. No worries. Brian, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, man. A little tired. Had a long day at work. About to end the stream soon. And I'm just talking with Walker Dead. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. I will say this, Brian. I will agree with you. I will agree with you on this. That episode in season 3B of the show. That episode you were just talking about, Iana Judas. Yeah, that episode. I agree. That episode could have been handled better. And yeah, in a weird way, AMC didn't do much with that episode.
Yeah, it felt like a cheap episode. It's just like, listen, like, if you're gonna show the characters getting ready for the war, I mean, show the characters getting ready for the war. I'm talking about, hey, you have characters chopping wood and making giant spikes in, next to the fence, you know what I mean? At the gate. You see, Glenn in riot armor, Rick with assault rifle, in a watchtower. You have the characters with sniper rifles and this and that, and you know Rick is just trying to come up with plans. He shows a map of the prison, and it's like, okay, these levels are cut off. This level's destroyed, but if they ever get in, we have a fallback position. This and that. No, we just have the characters kind of talking and this and that. I don't know. It's just I really feel like they should have geared up better. May I ask something off topic? Yeah, as long as it's appropriate, Josh, you can ask something off topic. As long as it's appropriate.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Brian. Do you think they should have done that in the season 3 finale of the Walking Dead TV show? Do you think they should have done that? What you just said?
What do you mean? Like getting
where,
ready?
Where everybody has weapons, they have the armor.
Oh yeah. First
they're
of all,
ready.
Every single person should have a riot armor vest on. Like Carl, Beth, Herschel, Glenn, Maggie, Rick, everyone. I mean, come on. Can you imagine how awesome Rick would have looked in season 3 with a prison riot outfit on? Like him and Daryl, like they would have looked so cool. But no, we can't do that because the audience is too stupid to recognize Daryl and Rick in different clothing. Like, come on, no. We could recognize them. Like, give me a break, AMC. Like, come on.
Yeah, such bull. Yeah, not to cut you off. I totally agree. That's such BS. I'm sorry. Even thinking about that right now just pisses me off a little bit. I will say this. Imagine if Tyrese had that armor on.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the things too, where if Tyrese had that armor on, then that comic book and TV show scene where the zombies surround him and he still makes it through, that makes so much more sense. Like, because even in the comic and the show, I never understood why they. How does Tyrese not get bit, surrounded by, and he gets swarmed by dozens of zombies, but he gets bit by a little tiny scrawny 8-year-old zombie? Like, come on, what is this, AMC?
Yeah,
It
in the
was.
show. Yeah, in the show, I look at this. The way I did it in my Walking Dead reboot series was more realistic, like, because during season 3A of my Walking Dead reboot series, you have Tyrese. He has the hammer. He's killing multiple walkers. He's trying his best not to get bit, and because he was focused, yeah, that was why he was never bit in my version, because he was
Um,
focused.
Yeah, yeah. One second. Joshua asked, "How do you feel about Lenny James being done with Morgan's character after Fear the Walking Dead season 8?" I told him happy, and he said, "I mean, I understand why you would say that, but don't you feel a little bad for Lenny?" I do, Josh. I do. Lenny James deserves better than Fear the Walking trash. So, um, and I have not watched them. I'm done with Fear, but I haven't watched the season 7 finale or the first 2 episodes of season 8, but I have heard bad things about those 3 episodes I missed. Um, and it makes me more happy that I left Fear. Yeah, Josh, Lenny James deserves better. So if Lenny James is like, listen, I'm done with this franchise after Fear. I'm good with that. I'm fine because to me, I'm just like, listen, the actor has been listen, okay, he has been abused by Ian and Andy. Like, for Pete's sake, Lenny James, he hates his character. I know he hates Morgan. I know he hates playing that character. He should not play Morgan Jones anymore if he hates it, you know? Um, so yeah, I agree with that. It's like enough is enough, you know? I mean, can you blame the guy? I mean, sheesh, Gimple was writing him horribly in season 7 and 8, and then, well, actually, season 6 too a bit. Season 6 to 8, and then, and then from seasons 4 to 8 of Fear, it's like, yeah, it's like Lenny James has not had a break. Like, he hasn't had like one season where he's written well, like, yeah. Um, Morgan will always go down. In my opinion, was he more interesting than the comic version? Sure. But was he a better character? No, no. TV show universe Morgan is a trash character because of how they write him. Not because of the actor, it's because of how they horribly write him. The actor deserves way better.
Yeah, I totally agree. Oh, do you have like any questions for me in regards to my Walking Dead reboot series? Like, what do you want to see in the future?
Um, Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned this before. I think that I think certain things that you plan on doing, like which changing certain characters' genders, is kind of a cool idea. I like the idea of like, hey, you're gonna involve um, the groups are definitely going to be more um, realistic in this version, but also they're less stupid and this and that. Like I like how you mentioned that like Woodbury has like cameras and stuff like or something like that. I'm like, oh wow, that's actually kind of cool. I never thought about that. Like that's actually true. Like it doesn't have to just be the CRM. Like if you are in a facility in zombie apocalypse, like you could get cameras working. Like it's like, okay, I never thought about that. Like, that actually adds a cool layer into the community. So it's like, hey, if a character needs to escape from Woodbury, it's like, hey, they have to think about those cameras. Like that's a bit of an issue. So, you added a bit of lore to it. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I just kind of hope like if I could just suggest some like ideas, like I said, I think that um try if you could like kind of like kill off a couple more characters here and there because like I said, man, I'm sorry, like I don't remember everyone all the time, but it's just there's so many characters in your reboot series that I kind of get lost with, and sometimes I think like a few, it having like less characters I think would be great, you know what I mean, here and there because like
yeah,
yeah, because like I said, there's so many characters like I just get lost. And like, but meanwhile, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of feeling like season 7 or 8, like Walking Dead, where it's I still have like characters I root for and stuff. It's just like, man, there's so many characters now. Like, um, Josh says, Minor season 8, episode 2, spoilers. Dwight and Sherry's son Flinch gets bit, and June cuts her finger. Oh my gosh, what is this writing? Yeah,
That's
Joshua.
funny. Hold on, real quick. That's funny because I mentioned that earlier today. I've mentioned that before earlier today.
I know. Yeah, Josh. Walker Dead actually told me that in private, and I knew about June. First off, with June losing her finger, that was spoiled in the trailer or promo. They literally show the character missing a finger. Like, it's like, okay, wow. And then for Dwight and Sherry's son, I mean, what? You're telling me you set up their characters to finally having a kid for some reason in a zombie apocalypse, and you're telling me they're gonna kill off Dwight and Sherry's son, who is they are setting up as a legacy character, like because now he's not a legacy character. Like to me, it's just once again shows that Ian and Andy are the dumbest writers on the planet, if you can even call them writers. Honestly, man, they are such idiots. All right, I'm gonna give this another 10 minutes, just so you guys know. I feel like it wouldn't be right to end it right here now. So I'm gonna give another 5-10 minutes, just so you guys want to talk a little bit more. So yeah, Walker Dead. I think that what was I gonna say? I'm trying to remember where I left off of. But yeah, Josh, that is crazy, just because of how Ian and Andy are terrible. But yeah, so Walker Dead. I'm really enjoying. I like how you don't really do filler in your version. Like that's one thing I'll say. There's not really filler moments. It's just that like yeah, like I said, it's just that there's so many characters, a lot of time, and like not everyone gets screen time. It's just the main thing with your reboot series. But other than that, it's like okay, I like how scenes and deaths like make more sense. Like when David dies, I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect that. But like when Axel dies, like, oh come on, like he was the last prisoner. So I definitely think like you're doing the deaths a lot better than AMC did, and you're cutting out the filler, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I will. I want to ask this. Like, I don't know if I asked you this once before, but correct me if I'm wrong. But what are your thoughts and opinions on Dwight and Sherry in My Walking Dead reboot universe not having a kid together, unlike Fear? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, in my personal opinion, like Dwight and Sherry, they just shouldn't have. I just feel like Dwight is. Don't get me wrong, Austin Emilio is a great actor, and like, but I just don't really feel like that fits his. I don't know if that really 100% fits his character. But here's the thing, though: it's Dwight and Sherry having a kid. It's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? As far as like writing, where it's like because they're not in the main show anymore, so it's like okay, you can technically do whatever you want with those characters now. But here's the issue: like I said, even the child's conception is a plot hole. Like think about that for a second. When did Dwight and Sherry have time to if you know what I'm saying, when they were in a nuclear apocalypse, like in the basement with the Larson family, who Strand had murdered, by the way, and he's still never avenged. They were with those people for months. Literally, if it wasn't for those people, Dwight and Sherry would have died. Okay, and they helped him get into the thing. So I guess you could say they repaid them. You know what I mean? It was like even, but they still let them stay in their cellar. For what, months, weeks, whatever. They still gave them a place to belong, and they were murdered. And what did they do? They see Strand. What did they do? Did they get payback for their friends that were killed who took them in? No, they don't care. Unbelievable. Like, it doesn't make sense. And like I said, and also this, if Dwight and Sherry's son dies, what was the point? What is you do not bring a child into a zombie apocalypse story unless it matters to the story. Why would you have two characters have a baby if it doesn't matter? It just doesn't make sense. Don't have characters get pregnant and have a child if it's not going to matter in some way. Like it's idiotic.
Yeah, I agree. It is idiotic, which is why I don't want to do it in my version. I'm like, okay, if I just found out that the Dwight and Sherry's son in the Walking Dead show universe just got bit, then why should I have those two characters have a child in my universe? If it's not going to matter, if it's not going to make sense, why am I going to do it in my universe?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, Walker Dead, here's the thing. If you told me, if I had the job, okay, of writing Fear, and they were like, listen, Dwight and Sherry need to have a child, you need to write that. I would be like, okay, I'm not gonna, I think it's weird, but I'll do it. I think I could make it work. You know what I mean? If I was told by the higher ups or the showrunner, whatever, if I'm writing the episode and they're like, listen, Dwight and Sherry need a child, write it. I'll be like, okay, I think it's weird, but I'm gonna do it in a way that matters. It makes sense, and it's like. But then I'm also gonna be like, okay, but if I have to write this child, then I have to make him matter or something like that in the story, you know. But then it's just like, okay, well now you have to write this child dying, it's like wait a minute, wait. You made me write this child, them having a child in the story. Now you want me to write that child dying? Yeah, I'm not doing that. No, there. I would tell the showrunner that if I was writing Fear, because I would be like, no. You had me write the child in to matter. Now I can't just make him not matter. It's not that simple. I can't do that because they would conflict
Yeah.
with what I was writing. You know, it's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. And Josh said that he said that June's character in season 8 is weird so far. And I said, LOL, just June. Aren't they all? Like, aren't they all weird? Because like, well, Madison is the only one with a brain trying to stop Morgan from sending Mo back to Padre. How did they even escape Padre? Like, I don't know. It's just, oh, I heard a rumor that Troy is the leader of Padre. I
Get
heard
the
that.
heck out of here with that BS.
Hear me out. Walker Dead. I know it sounds far-fetched, but let's remember this is Ian and Andy. Who knows? It could happen. Let's keep our eyes out, okay? If they reveal that Troy is the leader of Padre, dude, let's celebrate how dumb Ian and Andy's writing is. Like, you want to do that? Like, if they turns out
Well, we
that?
might. Well, yeah. I mean, we might as well at this point. I mean, I'm like, listen, if Ian and Andy are not going to explain how Madison or Troy are back, like if they're not going to explain how those two dead characters are back, then I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a chance that it's not Troy. But then again, this is Ian and Andy, so there's a good chance that this could happen. Um, yeah. So, okay, yeah. Walker Dead and Joshua, I'm going to end the stream. If you guys have any last minute things you want to get off your chest, please ask them now. So, yeah. If you have
Yeah,
any
I got like
questions,
two last minute.
okay.
I got like two last minute questions. I'll make it quick because I know you said you have to go and end the stream. My first last minute question is: do you see reboot series Morgan being way better than TV show Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, depending on you can kill him in All Out War or something. I don't know, but I definitely think you're going to do a lot better than this freaking hypocrite of a character he is. Because Morgan is such a hypocrite. Okay, he killed. Remember, he killed Richard for getting Ben killed, and because he even though he didn't need it, he got somebody killed because of his recklessness, and he wanted to use somebody's death for his own benefit. Morgan killed him because of that, you know. And you're telling me Morgan is trying to do the same thing with other people in season 8? You're telling me Morgan, who was obsessed with getting his child back in season 7, is now like, well, I want her to go back to Padre. What? Like, I thought you didn't like him. Like, nothing is making sense right now. Like, and also, Morgan, I'm going to kill everyone. I'm not going to kill anyone. This and that, back and forth. I mean, what is this hypocrite character? I mean, just, oh my gosh. Morgan is the biggest hypocrite in the world of The Walking Dead. Like, Morgan,
Yeah.
he's the biggest hypocrite because he is constantly going back on his word. He is constantly just flip-flopping back and forth. He cannot find a middle ground. And this is what I don't understand with Ian and Andy. You can make a character develop and not make him a hypocrite. I do it with my series. I do it with Benjamin. Okay, I don't change his kill everyone or become a pacifist. I don't do that with him. I keep him in the middle, and I never make him a hypocrite. But
but I change his character. You know how I do it? I change his viewpoints in the series. He learns new things. He learns how to adapt as a character. And yet, like, if I can do this, why can't Ian and Andy do it with Morgan? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but fact of the matter is, at least with Reboot Series Morgan, yes, there is a chance that he could be better than his show counterpart. Because let's be fair here, yeah, from what I've been told from people, they're not liking TV show Morgan no more, and rightfully so. I mean, rightfully so. Look at what they're doing with his character. It's such bullshit. I'm sorry, not to swear. It's such BS. It's dumb. Like, why do it?
Yeah. Um.
And
Hey, Dragon Ball
go
Radiant.
on.
Good to see you, man. Dragon Ball Radiant's here. Isn't Dead City tonight? I don't think so. Is it tonight? Um.
No, it comes out in June.
Yeah. It comes out in June. Joshua says when that Adrian guy saw his daughter Hannah as a walker, he hugs his zombified daughter and gets eaten by the other walkers. Okay, who is Adrian? Who's Hannah? Can you explain that? I kind of lost track. Um, I feel for what Dragon Ball says. I feel for what Andrew was trying to do, but I just don't see a point in leaving the governor alive. That's one decision that's caused countless people their lives. Exactly, Dragon Ball Radiant. You had this character she constantly allowed the governor to just get away with things, and then she let him live. And it's like, why? You know he's a bad man, and you literally were told to kill him, and it's like, you just don't do it. Like, why? I don't think they ever gave us a reason. Who thinks Finch is better than Mo? Honestly, Joshua, both of them sound like pointless legacy characters. I don't know either of the characters, but I heard that Mo is cringy. And this is one of the reasons why she's cringy, because Mo is partially cringy because she's a 12-year-old playing a 7-year-old. Like, Dragon Ball says, I just don't see the point in leaving the. Oh, right. I see Andrea's point, but she could have taken the chance when she had it. Yeah, it's like she knows he's a monster. Like he had heads. He had his zombified daughter. He tried to kill Michonne. He tried to kill your people. And now he also said that you don't matter and this and that. Like you're just a resident here. Like, like literally he's a monster. Like, Joshua says Adrian is the guy who wanted June to help him find his daughter. Oh, in season 8. Okay. What? Oh my goodness. It sounds stupid. It sounds so stupid. Man, my goodness. I have a character named Adrian in my series, and he's a way better character. You remember Adrian Walker Dead? He's
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, he's a way better character. Oh my goodness. Who is this?
Yeah, he was a good character. Sure, he died, but that doesn't mean he was a bad character. No, he was actually a decent character you had in your show.
Well,
unlike you know what.
Adrian didn't die.
Oh no?
No.
Yeah, I forgot he was still alive. I thought he died like during season 3. I forgot he was still alive.
Adrian is remember he's William's brother. He's the son of Patrick. And you know Patrick Wright, who was the leader of that group that Manny and Obadiah were part of, and like they joined Benjamin and them, and Adrian has a girlfriend named Kat. He has a brother, a mom, dad, and remember like he got captured for a little bit, but Benjamin saved him when he was getting beat up by the guys at the hydroelectric plant. Remember that? That's Adrian, man. Like, I remember he even told his his brother at the wedding that like, hey man, you'll find somebody, like that's Adrian. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's okay. You didn't remember. I kind of have a lot of characters, so, but yeah.
It's okay.
Adrian's guy, Judith or Mo, who's the better little girl character? Definitely Judith, Joshua. Oh yeah, I have to end this, by the way, guys. But yeah, even though I found Judith cringy, at least she earned her respect. She did earn her respect. Not as much as Carl, in my opinion, but she still earned the fan base's love. But you see Mo, and it's like, I'm supposed to love her. It's like, no, I don't like this kid character. I don't care. Like, we just met her. So yeah, Judith is cringy, but Judith is not entitled. She's not this child character who's like, oh yeah, I'm tough and this and that. I know everything you don't. Judith is not like that. She has trauma. so it makes sense why she does certain things. I think Morgan is trying to find a place where he's not driven crazy by Dwayne's death, so he keeps leading one way and then the other because he's not sure what else to do. Yeah, see, Dragon Ball, that makes Morgan a terrible character because he has still not moved on from Dwayne. He has a girlfriend, a child, but he still has not. I'm not saying he should forget Dwayne. I'm saying that he needs to move on. And the fact that Morgan has had all this time and he still has not moved on, it shows me he is a bland character. I think he took the wrong part of Eastman philosophy, though. He never said don't protect her loved ones. Yeah, exactly, Dragon Ball. Here's the thing. If your loved ones are in danger of being killed and you don't kill the people trying to kill them, you end up killing your loved ones because you are a coward. You know? So it's like, Morgan, why are you being like this, man? Just... Next episode, we get to see Daniel again. I'm worried they'll write his character bad again. Oh, they definitely will, Joshua. And I love that. I love that in Fear the Walking Dead. You see, the new season comes back, and everyone is split up from each other again. Isn't that great? Every single season, the characters are together at the end, and then they just split up randomly. And now, every episode, it's like we get to see this character again. Oh my gosh. They did it again, Walker Dead. They split up the characters in multiple episodes.
I can't say I'm surprised, which is why, in my version of Fear, I don't want to do that stupid shit. Excuse my French, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but yeah, man, your French has been, yeah, you've been speaking French lately. But yeah, I totally agree. Why?
My bad.
Yeah, but I get it because yeah, it's just like once again, it's like Ian and Andy. They love this, man. They love splitting up the characters because now we have to see them come together. Oh my goodness! At least this is the last season. At least Ian and Andy can stop doing this crap. Oh my goodness. It's just so dumb. Like, and here's the thing though. When characters are split up, and this is one thing I do in my series. When characters are split up, you see why they're split up. You see what happened to make them split up. It's on screen when characters split up, you know? But in Fear, it's always off screen. Oh my goodness. Madison and June interacting will be cool. I don't care. I don't care, Josh. I could care less characters. Yeah. Did you have something else? Yeah, Walker Dead. I'm about to end it. Did you have did you ask both your questions or did you only ask one of them?
I just asked one. My second last minute question is, so if you were to rate season 3A of my Walking Dead reboot series, what would you rate it?
Ooh, I don't know. I think a 9 out of 10. I think a 9 out of 10, really good. Really liked a lot of the stuff with the prisoners. They way better than the show. It's just that it just had so many characters like Dr. Stevens and Alice, and I kind of got overwhelmed with the amount of characters, and some characters didn't get screen time. So, but other than that, like really good.
Yeah. Oh, and do you have like one question for me before you leave? Like if you were to ask one question about the future of my Walking Dead.
I don't.
You don't?
I'm good. I asked my questions earlier. Dragon Ball says, I think they made a huge mistake when they kill off John Dory. That guy could have anchored your entire show. I don't know if he could have. John Dory was great. I don't know if he could do a whole show, but yeah, he was definitely a necessary character. He was absolutely BA. Yeah, he was BA more than these trash characters. Who's excited for Madison and Daniel reunion in episode 3? Not me, Josh. I could care less because Madison and Daniel were ruined as characters. You know what I mean? It's like, why would I want to see them reunite when they're trash, you know? Sadly, you know. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for my live stream. We talked about Walker Dead series, reboot series, his Walking Dead reboot series, but then we ranted about Fear, which I didn't want to do, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, the thing about my live streams is we are open to discussion and trashing Ian and Andy's horrible writing. You know, we are always open to that. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much. It's good to see you again, Dragon Ball Radiant. I think it's been a while. And Josh, thank you for always coming. And Walker Dead, thank you for co-hosting with me. And yeah, I will be doing I'll have to put a community post in a few days about what you guys want me to see for my next live stream. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. Bye, Josh. He said bye. All right, Walker Dead. Thanks for the chat, man. I will talk to you later. Enjoy the
Yeah.
rest of your day, man.
Yeah, if I have any more questions for you, I'll send them to you on Discord. But yeah, have a fantastic rest for day, bro. And P.S. Look on the bright side. The CRM in my Walking Day universe is going to be somewhat better than what we got with the show because, to be fair, with Fear the Walking Trash, they never acknowledged the CRM, so it's whatever. But yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day, bro. Peace.
You too. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.